edition of the Naharjita Bookathon presented in association with the Rai Soni Foundation. In this session, we shall explore the book Reimagine High Value Sales by Shakti Leekha. Sales fundamentally is about converting products, services, or ideas into transactions, whether through monetary exchange or barter. It is a profession as old as human civilization, constantly evolving. Today, a successful sales leader must drive financial health for the organization while effecting positive change within budgetary constraints and minimal marketing expenses. Adaptability and strategic thinking are key in navigating the dynamic landscape of modern sales to ensure sustainable success. Our speaker, Shakti Leekha, is a seasoned executive with over 20 years of leadership experience, driving growth and innovation for Fortune 500 companies like Philips, Johnson Controls, ABB, UTC, and Bajaj Group. As Chief Business Officer at Enlight Research, he spearheads the disruption of the PropTech industry with cutting-edge building management systems. A renowned thought leader, Shakti's expertise is frequently featured in prominent publications. He mentors entrepreneurs, advises startups, and inspires motivation, innovation, and entrepreneurship through speaking engagements and think tank forums. Shakti serves on the boards of Allied Digital Services and Allied Digital Services LLC, leveraging his expertise as an independent director and ESG expert. He's also a distinguished author with his book Reimagine High Value Sales, achieving Amazon bestseller status. Shakti's commitment to education and sustainability is evident in his roles with various institutes and organizations, including ASSOCHAM's National Council for Green and Eco-Friendly Movement. He has been honored as a mentor for change for the Government of India's Atal Tinkering Labs program, empowering the next generation of innovators. As an industry expert, sales coach, and mentor for Upgrad, Shakti fuels business growth and skill development. Through Shakti Leekha Ventures, he provides strategic advisory services, guiding startups towards successful commercialization and scalable success. Our moderator for this session, Preeti Gandhi, is a seasoned chartered accountant and partner at PNDJ and Associates LLP, with over 18 years of expertise in FEMA, domestic and international taxation, including transfer pricing, due diligence, and international valuation reports. Her career includes partnerships at Kanu Doshi and Associates LLP, Hiren P. Shah and Associates, and CNK and Associates LLP, where she excelled in advising multinational corporations on compliance with foreign exchange regulations and GST. Preeti serves as an independent director at Secma Consultancy Limited and advises non-resident investors on Indian tax compliance. She is also actively involved in non-profit organizations such as Jain International Trade Organization and Rotary Club, holding leadership roles and contributing to community projects. Now, I'd like to hand over the session to the moderator.
That's a great. I'm honored to interviewing you on your book, Imagine of Reimagine of High Value Sales. Let's start with, sir, some question on your books. Can you share us with what inspired you about writing this book, Reimagine High Value Sales?
See, the real inspiration behind this book was while I was in the business sales and business environment, there were certain learnings which I had of first hand. These are my first hand learnings which I had. There were live cases, opportunities, there were certain things which I, over the years, learned and created certain tools which help in streamlining or structuring the sales process in a way that it becomes a scientific tool as well as it remains always as an art. So that is
Yes.
what few of my leaders while I was with Bajaj and Indian Business Group. So Anand Bajaj was very close to me. So Anand told me, why don't you narrate your stories so that this becomes a learning for any younger generation guy, and how India has also transformed. Because this journey is a journey of Indian transformation also. Because I started my career in mid 90s, which was a time when India got liberalized and all this
Yes.
marketing and sales aspect became important. But before this, it was supply and demand game, law of economics, just basic. So
Absolutely.
play with those two levers and everything was being managed. But come mid 90s or in 90s after post liberalization, when the market
Mm-hmm.
opened up, it was no more a
Mm-hmm.
capacity game. It was a
Correct.
game of creating brands and then creating demand for those very brands and positioning, placement, and other stuff of marketing. So that is what I wanted to share with all. And fortunately, by 2020, the whole environment of India had changed by then. So India was no more just a market, but a market which wants to take global leadership in global space. So since
Absolutely.
2015, all those things had started. So being part of think tank Niti Aayog, so these things were coming in. एंड अमिताभ कांत वाज आल्सो सेइंग कि भाई तुम लोग सब इंडस्ट्री वाले मांगते रहते हो चीजें कुछ करो भी बदलाव लाओ तो फिर दैट इज व्हाट आई थॉट 2020 when the new decade was entering we said now it's Indian decade so Indian product so those stories I have narrated how India has transformed how things were happening how businesses have changed so all that is what I wanted to cover. And this is a time when Indian brands can be a global brand. I today sometimes joke,
Yes.
Tata will be larger than Toyota. So and Tata is much better than Toyota.
That's true.
So
That's true anyway.
that's the scenario which the nation is getting in. So there is where I wanted that whole thought of Indian brand. And could be tomorrow global management gurus come out of India rather than coming out of Harvard. So that's my thought. Maybe by then, when I
Yes,
hang my
yes.
shoes, those will be the days. Maybe you never know. Your assignee could be producing the best of the management gurus, which because the real market is here, the real
Yes,
future
yes.
is here.
I heard about you that you says can now Indian economy become I think Asian economy is the largest economy
Correct.
in your previous interview what I heard about it, and absolutely that's true, sir. And can you just elaborate what is your professional background and how it influence your book in this process?
My professional background is I did my engineering. I'm an engineering graduate by basic qualification. So when I did my engineering, that time when I started my engineering, I should say so. India was a very conservative nation, no liberalization by then. So it was we thought while we do it would be manufacturing, which will be there in large public sectors and government because those times you only had two options either government or public sector or very limited private sector so
Correct.
I did my engineering and was thinking of getting into manufacturing. So I should have been inter also, just to tell you, very
Oh,
unique combination. Because I thought I will get into works, production side and all that. But by the time I passed out, the India was liberalized and the marketing was taking shape. So then I did my management as well, post graduation, and got into sales marketing function at the start of my life. So started working with large Fortune 500 brands. So be the AT&T of the world, be Philips India, which was one of the largest consumer electronics company then. So was part of institutional or what you call the B2B sales in the initial days for Philips India. So that's what I've seen. And then uske baad I got into companies like Johnson Controls, which were just entering India by then. So was for part of the founding sales teams of the organizations then. Then led Tyco, which was another Fortune 500 company which came to India in their initial days when they acquired three Indian brands and or three Indian business groups to start off their Indian operations. So that roles gave me an exposure of creating business, establishing business, creating brands, and then further to that, I joined a company called as ABB, if you know the large for Fortune 500 electrical giant, which was there in India. So there also, my role was chalked out that I would lead an acquisition, global acquisition. If that happens, then ABB would have been larger than GE in those days. So we had a plan of beating GE down. So that was what was done. Then from ABB, I had moved to Johnson Controls back in as the country GM or the MD, you can call it. Led Johnson Controls in India for a record growth, which still is remembered everywhere. Year on year, 45% plus growth in those
oh,
days when you had Lehman Brothers crash, all those
yes.
adversities happening, and every company was sacking, and I was the company which was hiring. So that's what.
Okay.
So I say, how do you bring growth in adversities? That's another chapter which is there in my book. When everybody says it's challenging times,
Okay.
I call it is the best time.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I can just ask you, okay, you discuss about reimagine of sales. Can you explain that what means and how important in today's market?
See, Reimagine of Sales talks about One, how sales need to be looked at. See, people look sales or sales skills by designations. I have put it on skill level. So there is something which I call the 7 levels of salespeople. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody starts at a teller level where he goes and talks about things or
Correct.
explains things. Then I've put it the second level, which is called the solution selling, or where you pitch in or as a seller. Then the
Mm-hmm.
third level is something I call it the hunting skills, where you are able to map things, understand what competition is doing, what you need to do, where each guy is, how you place it, and how you position it, and I call it hunt it out. You make it happen. What I in sales language you say now, you make it happen. So that's the
हाँ,
third level of a skill which
आपको ढूंढना जरूरी है ऐसा.
हाँ ढूंढना तो है, ढूंढने के बाद समझना भी जरूरी है.
Okay.
ढूंढना तो शायद हंटिंग लेवल टेलर लेवल पे भी कर रहे हो आप, नॉक नॉक अगरबत्ती सेल्समैन जैसे हर घर पे जाके कर रहे हो. दैट्स ए बेसिक टेलर.
Correct.
और जो
Correct.
जिसने लिया लिया, नहीं लिया तो अगली जगह चले. तो वो वेरी बेसिक लेवल हो गया, which is what 95% of the market does, and that's what sales guys in their life do. They may carry any designation, but they
Mm-hmm.
generally end their life as a teller scale sales skill and ending at a teller scale skill. There is another sales skill which only 4 to 5% of the sales guys are able to make it, which I call as seller sales skills, which is what the solutioning is. Customer का pain समझते हुए आप उसकी problem solve कर रहे हो.
Correct. So, sir, there is a difference between B2B and B2C
हाँ,
sales,
correct,
right? What we are currently talking about. So,
correct.
can you just explain what books is telling on that matter?
So B2C, if you ask me, you have created a brand, you have created the visibility, you have positioned it, there's a demand, it is available on store. You do like how business to consumer buy. I have to buy a toothpaste, it's available, so I
Yes.
say ask for it. It's a known brand, and I buy
True.
it.
Yes.
That's a very simple availability and positioning game,
Correct.
a recall game. But come B2B, it's not that simple, because B2B, not a single man is taking a decision. That's a very unique thing. B2B
Yes.
typically becomes a complex sale because you're
Hmm.
selling business to business. So there are different buyer personas which come and play in that very deal. So when you're dealing with B2B environment, it's like a chess game. Or
Correct.
what I call the selling to a committee or a that type of a game.
Oh, yes, it's always a committee or I can say lobbying people,
Uh,
or and we
the
are dealing with that
correct.
whole organization in a way.
In that type of a scenario, how do you play it? Because
Okay.
when it is multiple people and the ticket size in B2B becomes large, the
Hmm.
thinking model changes. The thinking model doesn't remain logical, is my analysis, which you will understand. It goes beyond logic. The crude
Yes.
example I give is, if India had to do a Rafale deal, it will not be a simple deal which will a man can understand. People were saying
Absolutely.
so it will have layering in the deal. It would be more strategic, with more strategic intent of global alignment, which now many people know, which we did with France, and now how Europe is aligned and how you have lobbied
Correct.
geopolitically.
Correct.
So much beyond visible things are there in B2B. And
Yeah.
B2B is only way to transform a nation. Because if nation has to become large, India can't become large
Correct.
by doing consumer sales only. So we have to
Absolutely.
do government deals, which will be all B2B deals. So there
Right.
is where my expertise is, and there is where I say I'm an authority. I can coach and help anybody to do those large deals. So there are many
That's
corporates,
good.
like if you do software selling is all B2B. A corporate
Correct.
sells it to another corporate or takes an
Correct.
outsourcing deal.
Correct.
Now
Right.
these deals becomes complex, and there, if you master and follow the mantras and the tools which I have put in, because there is a structured way of selling, so there are tools which I have created. So you can analyze your deal, where do you fit in, what you need to do next step, how do you manage it, and take it forward.
Absolutely, that's a very much learning phase. Any salesperson can require when they enter into B2B. That's
Yeah.
great if we learn from this. Uh, I can say there are, you mentioned about seven layers of buyers and sellers, if
Seven.
I'm not.
Yeah, yeah, seven layers of
Yes,
buyer and seller,
yes,
right?
yes. So can you just elaborate on that part, sir?
The seven layers or levels of skill are
Yeah,
linked with the buying environment parallelly. So when I say
correct.
teller type of a
Mm.
skill is being used for a commodity model.
Okay.
When you have a telling level skill, you can
Mm.
be successful in commodity selling. So
Okay.
that's what I say. 95% of the sales guys uh,
Correct.
following
Correct.
this, but they are successful. जैसे आप अगरबत्ती बेच रहे हो जिसमें ब्रांडिंग का नाम ही नहीं है, कोई पोजीशनिंग का
Actually,
कंसेप्ट नहीं है.
correct. ज्यादातर वो ब्रांड से रिलेटेड है, पर व्हेन B2B इज कमिंग
हाँ,
इट्स अ
मतलब
डिफरेंट.
ब्रांड से भी नहीं है. जैसे अब लोग सवेरे बोलते हैं दूध चाहिए. अब आप दूध चाहिए तो दूध ला रहे हो, उसमें कोई ये पूछता नहीं कि आज भी अमूल, ऑल सडन एंड ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट टू अमूल, इन आइसक्रीम्स दे आर क्रिएटिंग ब्रांड, बटर दे आर क्रिएटिंग ब्रांड. पर दूध
करेक्ट.
तो ऐसे चल रहा है ना. दूध तो पैकेट वाला कोई भी जाके दूध दे दो.
कोई भी
एक
लाके दे
पूछो
दो.
कौन सा
हाँ.
दूध आता है, उसको मालूम भी नहीं होगा घर पे कौन सा दूध आ रहा है.
करेक्ट.
वो
करेक्ट.
टेलर जैसा हो गया, पहुंचा, नॉक किया, अवेलेबल है, दे दिया, आगे बढ़ा.
यस.
That's the
यस.
basic. The second is seller level of thing, where I told you it is consultative selling. What you typically do while say somebody comes at home for interior designing solutions, या कुछ आपके पेन प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर रहा है, डायग्नोस कर रहा है, आगे उस तरह की सेलिंग कर रहा है. तो ये सेलर लेवल पे हो गया. Hunter, I have told, that is on very competitive type of an environment. You understand it, you position it, you place it, and you make it happen. Fourth level is the farming level, which is you are not selling, you are doing account management, which means you have created somebody and you are just farming it, maintaining relationships. So here, relationship skills become very important. Goes
एब्सोल्युटली.
beyond just selling or a transaction. So transaction वाला आदमी may not fit in with repetitive account management sales skill. Like आपने बैंकिंग में देखा होगा, रिलेशनशिप मैनेजर्स आप लोग बैंकिंग में देते हो.
करेक्ट.
A
करेक्ट.
relationship manager has a different skill set.
यस. They have more patience, calm, and answering your question quite
Correct.
quietly, or
Maybe
trying
extending
to find out
हाँ,
some solutions.
and
Right.
extending beyond the normal time. Say रात के 11:30 बजे कल रात को मेरा क्रेडिट कार्ड
Correct.
नहीं मिला. You won't believe I
Correct.
called my relationship manager. He sent me some app. फिर आप वो कॉल सेंटर पे फोन करोगे, you will get into that loop.
Right.
Not happening.
Right.
So a relationship manager is expected to pick up your call at 11:30. See, there is where the relationship is. That's the comforting
Correct.
thing.
Correct. Correct.
But a
Right.
normal sales guy will switch off at 6.
Absolutely.
So you got
Right.
it. That's a different skill. Then the highest level, I call it the business developer level, which a person reaches is where he creates the demand generation.
Okay.
So it's not just sale. Like there's a joke people talk now. Somebody ventured into a market. There was no sleeper there.
हाँ.
He took
हाँ.
chappals to that market and said, "Market is there. Market is not there." So people look at it. How somebody looked at it? It's not somebody looked at. Somebody said, "I will create a demand for it." So you create a
Right.
demand for it, and then you serve the market. So that demand
Absolutely.
generation guys are those business developer guys, development
Okay.
guys. Then that skill is quite different from selling skill. And next level is the partnering skill, what we
Mm-hmm.
call in consulting environment. Big
Okay.
Four, Big Five follow that partnering skill. They
Okay.
don't grow in transactions, but they look at partnering. You grow.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. So,
And
I
the
think in
last
depth.
level is industry network consultant, which I call. Then you are top down. Then it's like Bill Gates selling. Yeah, he doesn't have to sell. He's a brand by himself. Or Kapil Dev selling in my language. When Kapil Dev says, "I want to do stadium lighting for you," so you will not ask him questions, though he's a cricket player or today's day and age. Virat Kohli starts something for fitness, or you have seen how Mane is
Venturing.
situated. So you know
Yes. Yes.
these guys themselves are brand and they can create anything.
So it impact your B2B sales very differently in this levels.
Correct. So here
Yes.
it's like you are a brand. So that's what it happens.
That's really amazing. We need to learn on in depth with a book. Definitely, we should read on this part. What are the some common challenges any sales professional faces when transition to the high value sales approach, and how can they overcome this?
See, the challenges which the sales guys face is because one, this process becomes very lengthy. It's not a 2 minute type of a sale. You went there and you bought it. There is a
Hmm.
judicious way and a structured way of which looks on paper, which is being
Correct.
followed, and 90% of the guys just get lost in that very methodology which is being explained. Jise aap bade tender pe bid karte ho. Those are B2B sales. So people
Right.
get lost in that very, but there is much
Absolutely.
more beyond the tender, which is what I'm saying, the people issue, the human issue, the real need diagnosis, and then understanding what each guy needs in that very complex sales. Somebody like who is evaluating technical bid will be bothered about the technical feature point and how it suits its solution. Somebody looking at commercial would be bothered about his commercial point. So looking at all various angles and presenting your solution in a form which meets each guy's agenda and the need, and then looking at what how competition is positioning and placing your product rightly, which helps you create your own sweet spot and the pull which you want to create. Because many people say government में तो सर ये आपके formulas चलेंगे नहीं. But if you look at it, today's market, government has moved from L1. It has moved to a QCBS method where
Okay.
quality and price both play an important. So if you mark me, this is the time this method works the best. And then there is another method which government looks at, Swiss based knife method, which means you create the value for the government and take the payback once you have created the value. So
Absolutely.
now in that's what I'm saying. So all these mantras, what I call the partnering, is that very
Ah,
Swiss knife method. So the mantras have become very important in today's environment. Be the government, be the private, any large ticket sale, these formulas are very must. And this has become part of many management institutes as a reference book also. So that while these guys come in, they don't have to go through that rut and learn the tricks.
okay.
And I've
Sir,
narrated my own stories also in
mhm.
complex environment, how such sales have been managed and how accounts and relationships have been developed.
Okay. So can you just give us a main component on a high value sales? What are the main components you think about keep in mind?
A main component clearly is what looks on the surface may not be the real reality. So
That's so absolutely
that,
true. I
So,
agree on that.
so there is where I call you need to do probing, find out what's the real or call the discovery process in any sale. I'll explain you there are 7 step process also which we have created in this book. Uh,
Okay.
One is clearly the targeting which you do, which you know which vertical you want to get in. You want to focus in hospitality, then
Right.
focus on that very vertical and work. Then targeting के बाद होता है qualifying. Then you really qualify, does the man whom you're talking to or the organization you're talking to have the potential or propensity to buy, and they have the propensity to pay also. Tomorrow it's not that he's just talking, he doesn't have the backup to really
Nothing.
make it happen.
Correct. Correct.
So those things you do at qualification. Then you do discovery phase where you find out who are the people really involved. Then you do the verification, what you are assuming or what you have discovered is really the reality. So many guys don't really do this verification and they follow what I call as of you and me. So they assume and they believe, and there is where they may go wrong. So you do a
That's
verification step, and then you
correct.
really get into a propose mode, and then you close mode, and then last step is the manage mode. So there are steps and then philosophies to be followed at each step.
Absolutely. This process make more effective sales, what I understand, and
Correct.
that is
Then
explained in your book
uh,
very well
the
about
chances
it.
of failure will drop. Because
Very
after this
nice.
process, also there is something called as an art which you need to have. So all these
Absolutely.
skills will help you as a science, but then art has to be there.
Has to be there. Basically, to know about the business, customer's business is very crucial. And how salesperson can get from how how be, how best way he can get these things done.
The
Knowing about the business activity of the other of the customer is important and crucial. So how best way a salesman can do this thing?
See, today's world, life has become very easy. You can get public domain information. It's now if you're a SEBI registered company, so everything is public. So you can
Yes,
find
yes,
out to sales guys if they do what today's world, digital world. Googling also can help you. That's a very, very basic tool which you all follow. You get your gather information.
yes.
The second way is verification. It has to be physical, one to one. There's no shortcut
Okay,
for that. Because
okay.
so maybe you can gather it, discovering it as a content which is public, but you have to verify it, because there are many things which may not be there in the public domain, because which you will
So
really get to
uncover some layers is important
correct.
to get the
Without that,
correct.
so there is where what you say, B2B sales guy can never hide or shy away from physical face-to-face meeting and understanding it, personally gathering information, verifying, and that would be more of questioning and understanding, uncovering, rather than just throwing what you have.
Great. So, can you give us some real life examples where this can be happen, like books where companies successfully implemented your high value sales strategies? Some examples and elaboration on that example. Can you give us?
I can give you many live examples where these things
We
have
want
happened.
definitely
Uh,
listen to
I till
definitely
there is one
as
of my
many as we can
uh,
in a time frame we have, but definitely.
there is one classic example which I give to everyone. Where there was a deal which was disqualified, saying this customer may not buy when these malls were coming, these large infra was coming to India,
Okay.
and people were
Mm.
building up. They said this segment is a very price sensitive segment. People will not buy the high end stuff and all that. Uh,
Okay.
so when that time I was there with Johnson Controls, my sales guy said, "Sir, this deal cannot happen.
Mm.
People are looking for cheap stuff, and this is the price sensitive case." Then while that case was being
Okay.
disqualified, I said I would like to meet the people there in that team. And then when I met, what I could gather was my guys were talking at very, very operating level. So when you go
Okay.
up the chain, so that's what I
Hmm.
said, uncovering. So then when I uncovered, I met the chief engineer, I met the director engineering. After director engineering, I met the CEO. And after meeting the CEO, I said I would like to meet the owner also. So when I met the owner, I could uncover something which was very, very unique. The
Okay.
uncovering of the need of the owner was he wanted to communicate a message to the world while he was building a mall. The message was that I had arrived in business. So money was never ever
Okay.
a case or an opportunity, because that company was a diversified company. It was never into malls or this type. So so then if my guys would have uncovered, they would have understood it's not a price game, it's a positioning game.
It's the positioning.
So
Correct.
you positioned rightly and you did partnership with him. You won't believe that the mall was obviously the order was ours. And when it was inaugurated, I was given an award by him and a minister who came in to inaugurate that very mall, saying we are implementing the best of the technology coming from these guys who are the global players in this arena. So he used us for positioning himself as well.
Very nice. That's
So,
a
so
unique example. What I heard from last many examples I heard about the sales, but this is a very different aspect of a
so
person's persona of a
correct.
owner, right?
So that is what needs to be. And you won't believe after that it was a rate contract. He said, मैं आपके साथ ही काम करूंगा हर जगह. बिल्कुल.
Oh, that's a great.
So where people were saying it's not an opportunity.
Okay.
So there is where I'm saying you go down, position it rightly, talk and understand. Because certain times operating levels are lost in their routine. They may not give you what the real,
So beyond market study, I can say this is a
obviously beyond market.
really,
Beyond
really
market study,
important.
getting down
Yeah,
deeper and finding out, discovering and getting really deep to get to know.
great, sir. We would like to hear few more examples from your side because we are learning, and definitely audience is also happy to learn more about it.
Similarly, there was many other cases on large government sales, which people said Payment terms may not change. This is the government philosophy. There again, also it was uncovering a inherent need, helped me to change the whole way, that whole, or say the policy of the government to influence. People may call it in a very crude form, in a nasty things, but it was not nasty. The government was in a listening mode, but they really wanted right people to advise at right levels. So the, at certain level it was looking like it's a dirty thing. You need to get into what you call certain times in a very crude form a lobbying or something. It was not a lobbying need. Government also wanted a change. They also wanted to do a refresh of the policy, but they were not being rightly advised. So certain times there is where industry forums also play an important role, where you may approach to forums, align people. So it was a cross game changing scenario for everyone. So it didn't help just one organization to grow by say 40%, but it helped everyone, because you came with certain security policies, security norms, or what you see today. I'm hinting at, say, the hospitality security norms which you see
Correct.
came after
Correct.
2011, which happened unfortunately in India. The same year Lehman
Yes.
Brothers happened. So now you can relate what I'm trying to say, how 45% year on year growth happened for an organization and how the scenario changed when
Absolutely. The
you had a
way
boom
in
year of 2611 as well as Lehman Brothers. But there was an opportunity lying there which could be unlocked if you could create a philosophy and standardization of security requirements, which is what now set in as a protocol for hospitality industry. So,
absolutely.
so in certain
There is
terms,
a lot different.
हाँ,
Lot
lot of
different.
difference. So crisis में भी आपने अपॉर्चुनिटी ढूंढी, इंडस्ट्री को स्टैंडर्डाइज किया, नॉर्म सेट किए, सबके लिए मार्केट क्रिएट हो गई.
Right, sir. So current today's world is like ever evolving around technologies, AI, everything is changing constantly. So how it impact on a high value sales and how we can overcome that constraint or how we turn that into our opportunity.
So today's world, we call it a VUCA world, very volatile, uncertain, changing, and
Absolutely.
that's the world which is. So in VUCA, when a world is very uncertain, which is what today's environment is, to bring some certainty and to bring that uh, way where you have more probability and your decision may be right and will be right, is what structured way of thinking, structured way of approaching and analyzing will help you. But uncertainty to remain hogi, because nobody has a magical formula today. You may
True.
do it because it's an environment which is ever changing. If
Correct.
the environment changes, then the whole logic may go off. Today we
Right.
all are betting big on renewable, looking at electric vehicles. We never know, tomorrow something more disruptive comes and says no, you don't require, water can do it, or some other phenomenon changes. So that can disrupt the whole market. So given all that, still to bring certainty, this is the best way to do it.
Great, sir. सर एक पर्सनल क्वेश्चन इस बुक के बारे में कि आप जब बुक लिख रहे थे या whenever you are researching or on that part, what is the best insight or finding while that experience, what you experienced during that time,
See,
the most different finding or insight?
insight while I was researching is, or I would not say research. In my case, it was only going back, looking back,
Okay,
and then saying, जो बोलते हैं ना, joining the dots. So what I
okay,
did was joining of dots till 2010. My second version has to come, which I'm waiting for the right opportunity when I'm able to create unicorns. If you know, after 21, I came on my own, where I have started advising and I'm mentor. Like I'm with Startup World. I'm on board of legacy
okay,
companies. So here is where I'm now trying to create and disrupt in a different form and see these. Say if legacy company becomes a global Fortune 500 company,
correct,
or a startup becomes a unicorn. So then I'm really creating, like Upgrad is one example. I was associated with Upgrad, which you all know
okay.
in education sector.
Yes,
It's a brand
yes,
by
it's a
itself.
unicorn.
It's a unicorn.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
there I was fortunate that I could associate and create. Similarly, in between, I was creating a brand called as VAMS Global. Now that's an Indian largest visitor management selling company. When you get into any office, you have to do that QR code thing. Na? So that QR
Yes,
code thing is
yes.
made out of India and being sold over all across in the world. If you get into
Okay,
Manhattan, most of the Fortune 500 companies are using that very software. So it's we should be all
okay.
proud. It's like अपना आरोग्य सेतु है ना तो वो
हाँ, हाँ,
विश्व
हाँ.
का आरोग्य
Correct,
सेतु है. So India was the only country which created आरोग्य सेतु. If you ask me,
correct, correct.
if government,
I have a funny experience on
हाँ,
that,
हाँ,
Arogya Setu.
तो
Uh, because of Corona, that time we have a digital things on phone. And
हाँ,
however, whenever whoever visited outside and show that card, everybody has to get a paper on. US also have a paper based
हाँ,
Corona, and we have a digitized
correct.
things.
Correct. Now you got it.
Correct.
So there
Yeah.
is where we created something called as VAMS Global, and it is one of the world's largest now. So during the Corona
Okay.
time, I was working closely with them, associated with them, helped them to create a brand. When we created
Okay.
that, we renamed the whole company. It was known as We Authenticate. We changed the brand name to VAMS
Mm.
Global, and then positioned it worldwide. It has been a great success. Upgrad, is another success. Third, we are now creating Enlight, which my vision is they will disrupt the prop tech in which we are.
Mhm.
While we talk, just to tell you, we are doing what Johnson and Siemens and Honeywell's were doing as an Atmanirbhar Bharat company. So we have created
Yes.
building management system, products, the hardware, the software from India, and are taking up to the globe.
Oh.
So as we speak, there is some Japanese firm which is investing in us and helping us get into access to Japanese market. So that's a great validation. So while I create this journey of
Mm.
creating global brands, global
Mm.
superpower brands, who will displace many Fortune 500 brands, which today you
True.
know. So
Correct.
that's all technology coming from India, getting rightly positioned in the world, accessing the market at right crazy price points because we are making it out of India. So our cost of research is quite different from cost of research which you do in US. And this is a time when we have the best of the talent available in the nation. So which is what we are trying to do. So this would be the second story of India.
Great. Sir, on this note, what advice you want to give young salesperson currently?
I would say you are born in the right time. God has blessed you. This is the most happening time or the most transformational time for the world because there are shifting of gears happening and turn of India is coming. So do and play the game with passion and you will make it happen. जो बोलते हैं ना कंट्री की ग्रोथ स्टोरी आ गई है ट्रैक पे. अब ये लोगों को नेक्स्ट लेवल पे लेके जाना है. जो बोलते हैं ना खुल के खेलो.
हाँ,
अब
correct.
ये 83 वाला जमाना नहीं है जहां कपिल देव सपना देख रहा था वर्ल्ड कप जीता जा सकता है. अब ये जमाना है कि एक्सपेक्ट किया जा रहा है भैया वर्ल्ड कप आपको जीतना है और आप में
जी,
पोटेंशियल है.
yes.
ये वो वाली टीम है तो इन पे प्रेशर तो रहेगा ही रहेगा. बट दे हैव टू प्ले विद पैशन एंड ऑल लर्निंग्स आर हियर. And if any way I can contribute at any stage, I'm more than keen to do that with any young group, and I'm part of Jito mentoring group as well. So anytime anybody needs any help, more than keen to do that because I know मेरे सपने भी जो मैं देख रहा हूँ देश को जिस ये नया भविष्य ही help करेगा to complete it. So anybody who's getting into profession now, uh, it's a time to disrupt and be passionate about it and you will do it. एग्जाम्पल हम जोमेटो देख ही रहे हैं. एग्जाम्पल हम जेप्टो देख रहे हैं विच इज हैपनिंग.
Yes,
एग्जाम्पल हम
yes.
करेंगे विच आई टोल्ड यू एनलाइट रिसर्च विच आई एम पार्ट ऑफ. So which is going to be a brand soon which you will see as a global brand.
Just my next question is on that. What is your next project for books, or can you just let us
Which
know
is what I
about your
said.
next?
My next project of the
Uh,
book is 2010 and beyond, which I will talk about how this startup revolution started in India and how the brands got created out of that. Which is what I said. दो तीन डॉट्स मैंने आपको बताई जहां मैंने काम किया है which will become part of
correct,
it.
correct,
Maybe
correct,
the
correct.
dot which I'm working will become very big, then the whole thing will get linked. So that's one startup. Second is when I take board positions, my only driver is not just the governance part or anything, the ESG, so that they are able to position it rightly in the world language. Because
Okay,
that's the language which the global world will talk soon. And that will
absolutely.
become a barrier or a entry point trouble for many brands if they don't look at those aspects very rightly. So there is where I'm helping brands, help brand and look at a few markets which they have never been looking at, or opportunities or verticals, how to bring growth. So just two areas. One is legacy companies to restructure themselves, look at disruption and growth.
Mm-hmm.
And second is startups clearly to envision the market, plan their GTM, take for commercialization, right positioning, placement, and capturing the global market.
That's great, sir. And lastly, I want to know where we get your books, what platform we can get your
So
books.
my books are available in both Flipkart platform, Amazon platform, or somebody can order it from my website also. Because when I promote Atmanirbhar, so this is my first Atmanirbhar initiative. Then if you can make it from Amazon,
So start
or
with yourself.
start, you can take it from my website, order it, or drop a mail. So you
Uh,
can get it. All three ways.
great,
And if
great.
somebody wants Kindle option, he can take it through Amazon. He can read it. So that's available. Kindle, it's free for Kindle members. So that's the way I have made it, so that it is democratized.
Absolutely great, sir. Oh, I think so. Viewers will enjoy this session and they learn a lot from the think tank person of India. And it was a great pleasure for me to be interviewing with you, or just talking a lot of knowledge from you, taking a lot of knowledge from you. I think so. Session is end, but really, sir, on a personal note, I'm really happy to be part of this session, and I learned
Yeah.
while talking to you a lot about it.
It's all mutual. It's a pleasure. Is all there. And thanks for this honor. Looking forward for great success for this event which you're all doing.
Bookathon is coming, going
Hackathon,
on, and
all the best.
definitely it
Uh,
is extended little bit more. So
okay,
most probably it may go till September for a physical event,
very good.
and so it possibly, because right now we are just going on a online event, but possibly we are taking it to September till September for some few physical event if we can do it
Which all
during
locations
this.
you are trying to do physical?
Mostly Mumbai, Delhi, and Jaipur,
Uh,
Rajasthan. That's
Jaipur, very good. Yeah, Jaipur, literally, literature. Everybody knows Jaipur for that. So,
yes, yes. So,
second.
sir, where you based?
I'm based out of Mumbai. So, anything you need in Mumbai, Delhi, or Jaipur, if you can let me know the dates in advance, I would like to join you all when you do the physical event. So, that would be a different
Sir,
environment.
definitely, I will try to be in connect with you. We may need some event near future, so I will get back to you on this part. Definitely, Aradhya will be in touch with you about it.
Okay.
Surely.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. Namaskar.
Namaskar.